The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, good evening. Schönen guten Nachmittag an alle. Ich begrüße Sie im Namen von Full Circle Insights und BAS Consulting und freue mich, dass Sie in unserem Webinar You Get What You Measure, How Leading Marketers Use Measurement to Increase Sales teilnehmen. Wenn Sie entscheiden wollen und Entscheidungen treffen müssen Sie ja, dann benötigen Sie Fakten. Sie vertrauen dabei sicher Ihren Daten. Allerdings bekommen Sie nur dann valide Aussagen, wenn Sie vorher dafür gesorgt haben, dass Sie die Daten auch an der richtigen Form und an der richtigen Stelle verfügbar haben. Und die Qualität der Reports letztlich wird bestimmt von der Qualität der Ihnen zugrunde liegenden Daten. Und die Qualität der Handlungen wiederum hängt von der Aussagekraft der Analysen ab. Und die Qualität dessen, was Sie tun, hängt also entscheidend vom Input ab, also von dem, was Sie in den Analyseprozess vorne hineinfließt. Anhand dieses Beispiels steige ich in das Thema ein, gebe Ihnen eine kurze Einführung in das, was uns die kommenden 40 Minuten etwa beschäftigen wird, bevor wir dann die englische Präsentation hören. Wenn wir uns nun die Qualität angucken und die Qualität meiner Organisation messen wollen, dann kann ich diese an diversen Dingen festmachen. Zum Beispiel daran, wie vorausschauend ich planen kann, zum Beispiel um zu agieren, statt zu reagieren. Oder wie gut und effizient ich den Einsatz meiner Ressourcen steuern kann, also zum Beispiel Budget- und Personaleinsatz für die Durchführung von Kampagnen. Oder darum, wie ich nachvollziehen kann, welche, und zwar natürlich idealerweise positiven Effekte, die einzelne meiner Maßnahmen überhaupt erzielen. Um nun die Qualität überhaupt messen zu können und dann zu optimieren, muss ich sie auch beurteilen können. Und dazu bedarf es fachlicher und technischer Voraussetzungen. Und die orientieren sich wiederum an verschiedenen Fragen. Zum Beispiel fachlich, was sind denn eigentlich die relevanten KPIs, die an meinen Zielen ausgerichtet sind? Oder wie vermeide ich Datensilos und vermittle Transparenz? Und vor allem, welche Prozesse müssen harmonisiert werden? Technisch muss ich mich den Fragen widmen und beantworten, wie lassen sich denn aus den Datenströmen, und davon gibt es ja bekanntermaßen immer mehr, die benötigten Kenngrößen überhaupt ermitteln? Und welche Datenstrukturen ermöglichen effiziente Analysen? Und dann ist die Frage, wie aussagekräftig Reports überhaupt definiert werden können. Es geht also nicht um die Menge an Reports, sondern vor allem darum, wie die Qualität aussieht. Und am Ende ist es wichtig, dass die Daten und Prozessstrukturen mir erlauben, genau das zu messen, womit ich am Ende auch meine operative Arbeit optimieren kann. Mit der Partnerschaft von Full Circle Insights und BAS Consulting bauen wir nun die notwendige Brücke zwischen den technischen und fachlichen Aufgabenstellungen, speziell im Marketing und im Vertrieb. FCI, Full Circle Insights, mit Sitz in Kalifornien, liefert alles rund um Software und Datentechnologie. Vor allem sind das Applikationen und Lösungen für Salesforce-Infrastrukturen. FCI versteht es aber auch, die entsprechenden Voraussetzungen in den Datenstrukturen von Salesforce zu schaffen, damit überhaupt optimale Ergebnisse erzielt werden können. Schließlich sorgt FCI für die Implementierung der Apps, gegebenenfalls die Integration weiterer Datenquellen, und im Fall des Falles passt FCI die Anwendungen auch an den individuellen Bedarf an und übernimmt selbstverständlich den technischen Support. Auf der anderen Seite ist BAS Consulting in Deutschland zu Hause in der Prozessberatung, speziell im Marketing und im Vertrieb und vor allem, was sich rund um CRM dreht. Zusammen mit unserer Expertise im Salesforce-Umfeld identifizieren wir die Potenziale und übersetzen die dann in geeignete fachliche und technische Anforderungen. Und als lokale Ansprechpartner hier in Deutschland übernehmen wir dann die Koordination in Abstimmung mit Full Circle Insights und begleiten die Projekte. An dieser Stelle möchte ich einen kurzen Überblick geben über unsere Tätigkeitsfelder als BAS Consulting. Co-Gründer und zweiter Geschäftsführer ist Gerald Unger, der wie ich seit ebenfalls fast 20 Jahren in der Beratung unterwegs ist. Daneben arbeitet für uns Katrin Spohr als freie Mitarbeiterin und ist als Expertin zuständig für alles rund um Salesforce. Unser Fokus liegt in der Begleitung von Transformationen, sei es in der Produktwelt, in der Prozesslandschaft oder auch in Bezug auf das Personal. Das sind unsere 3 Ps. Und Veränderung ist inzwischen, wie Sie alle wissen, die Regel und verläuft vor allem nicht sequenziell. Und das ist auch die Herausforderung, denn das Wichtigste ist nun das Management der Abhängigkeiten dieser 3 Ps untereinander. Und unsere Überzeugung zudem ist, dass das Thema Personalmanagement und Kultur für den Erfolg von Transformationen der wahrscheinlich entscheidende Faktor oder der entscheidendste Faktor sogar ist. Wir haben das Social Marketing, digitale Vertriebskanäle und das erfordert neue Denkweisen, neue Organisationsstrukturen. Und wir kennen immer mehr Roboter und künstliche Intelligenz bei der Prozessautomatisierung, was wiederum neue Arbeitsstrukturen schafft. Daher haben wir speziell einen Leistungsblock in unserem Portfolio entwickelt, der sich gerade diesem Thema widmet. Aber zentral für unseren Beratungsansatz ist auf jeden Fall die Operational Excellence im Marketing, Service und auch Vertrieb. Und ein ganz wichtiger Teil davon ist die Steigerung des Vertriebserfolgs durch die optimierten Prozesse und eine aussagekräftige Analytik. Und damit sind wir nun wieder beim Thema. Wir sprechen gleich intensiv über das Thema Salesforce, Lösungen für Salesforce.com-Umgebungen und vor allem, wenn das Kampagnenmanagement auch noch über Salesforce erfolgt. Wir sprechen auch über Lösungen, die eine enge Zusammenarbeit zwischen Marketing und Vertrieb erfordert. Also beide Seiten sind hier gleichermaßen gefordert. Und dann haben wir noch 2 Begriffe, die sich immer wieder gleich in der Präsentation darstellen und ganz entscheidend sind für die Argumentation. Das sind einmal die Funnel Metrics. Und da sprechen wir über die genaue Analyse des Marketing- und Vertriebsprozesses von der Erstansprache bis zum Abschluss der Conversion. Da geht es vor allem um Kenngrößen wie Menge, Geschwindigkeit und Umwandlungsraten und zwar immer von Schritt zu Schritt im Trichter, also im Funnel. Und dann sprechen wir über die Möglichkeiten, den Anteil des erzielten Umsatzes auf die einzelnen Kampagnen aufzuschlüsseln. Und das nennen wir Attribution. Und Attribution ist in der Anwendung durchaus ziemlich tricky und das werden wir nachher auch in der Präsentation noch hören. Kommen wir nun zum zentralen Thema dieses Webinars. Die Präsentation wird auf Englisch erfolgen, etwa 25 bis 30 Minuten dauern und abschließend haben Sie dann noch die Gelegenheit, in einer offenen Question-and-Answer-Session Ihre Fragen zu äußern. Sie können natürlich auch Fragen zwischendurch stellen oder Kommentare loslassen an uns senden über die entsprechenden Felder in dem Control Panel, was in der Standardansicht bei Ihnen rechts im Bildschirm zu sehen sein sollte. Gehalten wird der Vortrag von Bonnie Crater. Bonnie ist Co-Founder, President und CEO von Full Circle Insights, ansässig in San Mateo, Kalifornien. Vor der Gründung von FCI hat Bonnie als Vice President und Senior Vice President das Marketing in einer Reihe von Firmen im Silicon Valley geleitet, unter anderem bei Genesys, Netscape, Stratify und auch bei Salesforce.com selber. Seit 2013 wurde sie auch mehrfach ausgezeichnet, zum Beispiel durch das Silicon Valley Business Journal als eine der 100 Most Influential Women. Ihre Ausbildung hat sie in Biologie in Princeton abgeschlossen und anschließend ihre Karriere, wie so viele im Silicon Valley, bei Oracle begonnen. Bonnie, I've introduced you, explained your and our partnership. Now we are excited to learn more about how leading marketers use measurement to increase sales. So please, Bonnie, go on. I'm excited.
Thank you, Ingo. That was a wonderful introduction, and welcome everyone. I'm Bonnie Crater. As Ingo said, I'm President and CEO of Full Circle Insights, and I want to talk to you today about how really top B2B marketers use analytics to increase sales and become very successful in their companies. To begin with, I'm very interested in, and I have been for a very long time, in growing businesses through marketing impact. And so at Full Circle, we have a series of applications that help you do digital marketing attribution, integrated campaign analysis, integrated revenue operations, and also measure account-based marketing type of implementations. So a lot of companies that are very interested in this spend a lot of marketing on a lot of money on sales and marketing. A typical company that's very interested in this might spend half of their money, half of their sales on sales and marketing expenses. And so any increases in efficiency in the sales and marketing funnel can make a huge impact on their company's results and is very material to the shareholders of those companies. So in the bad old days, back before we had Full Circle, we used to measure our marketing results with just a lead count. So here's a chart which says top performing campaigns by leads. And you can see a series of campaigns in this list. This is a chart directly out of Salesforce and a record count about the number of leads. But I want you to watch something. So notice that this B2B Fusion party list had accounted for 2,523 leads. But demo requests down here was only 210. With modern techniques such as attribution, you can now measure your marketing campaigns by how much impact those campaigns have on sales. So here's another chart. It shows closed won deals. And notice that demo request pops up to the top as the most influential campaign for closing sales. And you'll also notice that that party doesn't even show on the list. So by measuring impact on sales, you get a completely different result than if you just count the number of leads. And if you measure the impact on sales and you emphasize the campaigns that are impacting sales the most, you get the most out of your marketing dollars. So at Full Circle, as we have worked with customers, our top customers do this. They use the analytics for planning, right? They look at what's happened in the past and they try to predict how many leads they need to generate for the next period, typically the next year. During this planning process, there's goals that are set. And then the next thing that these top customers do is they actually create and have a set of charts that actually measure how well they're achieving their goals. The third thing they do is they look to optimize their processes. Many companies have a very tricky handoff between marketing and sales. So when the lead gets passed from marketing to sales, there is a lot of inefficiency. Sometimes the leads are not even followed up on, or sometimes the salespeople cherry pick and they only follow up on certain types of leads or certain numbers of leads. By having charts and reports that review how well the salespeople are following up or how well the campaigns are performing for the salespeople, there's a lot of efficiency that can be gained by just understanding that and having good communication around those topics. The fourth area is evaluation. So in evaluating, you're evaluating your overall marketing spend and trying to figure out which campaigns you want to invest in and which one you want to de-invest in. You kind of want to look at your campaigns, your set of campaigns that you're running as a portfolio, and emphasize areas that you want to invest in and areas that you want to de-invest in. So to do that, you need a set of charts that show which campaigns are actually performing the best, which campaigns are performing the least, and which campaigns are performing on an average basis. The campaigns that are performing poorly, you might want to stop altogether, or rejig and recast in a new way so that they might have a chance of performing better. Customers of ours that we've seen that have followed this method have a huge impact on their businesses. On average, a typical customer will get about a 30% bump in the efficiency of their marketing spend. So if you have $1 million to spend on marketing, that translates to be a $1.3 million marketing budget It's as if you got a 30% increase in your marketing budget by simply spending the dollars more efficiently. So this is how most of us are working and is a best practice for B2B marketers. It starts with aligning sales and marketing on the company objectives. Typically, there's a sales target or a revenue target for a company at the start of the year. And by understanding what this sales targets or revenue targets are, you can align your sales and marketing activities around those targets. The second thing is to adopt funnel metrics and attribution. These are the two types of metrics that are very, very meaningful to optimize your marketing budget. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. The third thing is the top B2B marketers do a lot of communication between sales and marketing, and also the executives. The top companies will have a weekly sales and marketing meeting to review all the metrics, find the areas of opportunity, and find areas where they really want to make improvements or actually stop doing a program. The teams will take action items, they'll come and meet again, and then they'll review the new week's marketing metrics. They'll also have a meeting with the exec team, probably once a month as opposed to once a week. So in these meetings, they're identifying areas of improvement, and then they make adjustments to their sales and marketing operations. And then this cycle starts again. One company that we've worked with hundreds of companies on this who've had similar results. But one company that we've worked with is a company called Hire, which is a leading tech jobs marketplace based in San Francisco. They're a $50 to $100 million company. And they needed to build a B2B marketing playbook so that they could attribute very specifically what revenue was being generated by their various marketing programs, the different channels that they were running, and different campaigns, so they could reallocate their marketing spend in the most efficient way possible. They wanted a way to easily track leads and also generate reports that were used not just by the marketing team, but also by their sales or revenue teams. And so they used Full Circle and used that Full Circle method that I just described. And they got a six-fold ROI with their field marketing team, which was amazing. And they also became sort of famous. They won a prestigious award in the United States for a campaign that generated a bunch of great results. Lastly, Katrina Wong, the VP of Marketing, really wanted a system that provided information that showed the contribution that marketing was making to the company. It wasn't just a guess, but real data, bulletproof data, that showed that their efforts were contributing to more than half of the closed won business. And so Katrina says, with Full Circle, my marketing playbook is complete because I can prove my strategy is effective. So what are the right marketing metrics? Here we showed that example of the demo request that generated 210 leads, but the most closed won business. First, let's start with attribution. There are two types of key marketing metrics that we find that are most impactful for optimizing your marketing spend. So the first is attribution. So this is an example here that I'll explain, which has a closed won revenue amount of $18 million. And notice that below this $18 million in revenue, ads generated $3 million, email was associated with $5 million, banner ads were $3 million, seminars were $4 million, other was $1 million, and webinars were $2 million. This might be a typical B2B marketing spend. So what the Attribution Metrics does is it takes this 18 million and it divides it in a logical way among all of the campaigns. Now there's lots of ways to do that division, and let me explain that for you. We call these models. So if you're just counting leads, the model would look like this. You're just counting the number of responses to your campaigns. But with revenue attribution, there's multiple ways to attribute the revenue among all the different campaigns. And they roughly are single touch, multi-touch, custom weighted, and custom factors. So with single touch, you take that 18 million and you would give it to a single touch. Now, as everybody knows, in B2B marketing, there can be 5 to 15 touches, marketing touches, meaning 5 to 15 different interactions between a prospect and the company. They might be downloading a white paper, attending a webinar, reading something on the website, all those sorts of things. But a single touch would attribute all of that 18 million, for example, to the first time that the customer had an interaction with the company. Last touch would be the last touch or the last interaction they had with the company. And the tipping point would be the point at which the prospect is responding to a campaign, and that campaign results in enough activity to warrant giving that lead to sales. We call that the tipping point campaign. Multi-touch, as the name says, has a mechanism to divide all of the 18 million that we saw on the previous slide among all the touches. So in this case, there were 6 touches, and that 18 million would be divided among those 6 touches. In an even spread multi-touch model, you would take 18 and divide it by 6, which would be 3 million for each. In a custom weighted model, you would put weights on certain types of touches, or touches that might come in earlier or later based on timing, or touches maybe that had involved a decision maker. Those might get more credit. So your division of that 18 million would be distributed a little differently. Sometimes you want to add in other factors. For example, time. Sometimes marketing teams want to give weight to campaigns where customers are spending a lot of time. So for example, you might spend an hour on a webinar or 5 minutes reading a short article. And based on the time, estimated time that a prospect would spend with each of those types of campaigns, they would put a weight. So those are the types of custom factors that you might use in your model. So we have single touch, multi-touch, custom weighted, and custom factors models. Let's look at a couple of other metrics. So I talked about attribution. Now I want to talk about funnel metrics. Attribution is great because it gives you a picture of the impact of your marketing at a point in time. But funnel metrics shows more information about how your operations is running. And that can be even more valuable even than attribution, because a lot of the inefficiency between marketing and sales teams is really in the operations. So there's 3 types of funnel metrics. You can see here, there's volume. That's the number of leads that are going through the funnel. There's velocity, which is how fast the leads are going through the funnel, and conversion, which is which is the rate at which the leads convert from stage to stage. So here's a quick example. This is about volume. So this is a set of campaigns, and it's organized by campaign type: conferences, banner ads, emails, inbound inquiries, webinars, and web leads. And then across this horizontal axis, you have stages. So this is inquiry. MQL stands for marketing qualified lead, sometimes called a qualified target. That's what QT stands for. SAL stands for sales accepted lead, then sales qualified lead, and sales qualified lead, that's 1. So here you have 858 leads, and 31 of those were won over some period of time. And the total contract value of that is $545,000. Now, the reason that you want to look at impact, right, of how much was closed won over that period, and it turns out that these conferences are the most impactful. And you can observe that the conferences generate the most leads, but they also generated the most deals and the most money. You might also look to see, these email campaigns, I wonder what we're doing here that's not generating that much activity. So these are all the questions that could come up. Okay, so that's volume. So it's volume, conversion, which is converting from stage to stage. Here you have the same campaign types with the same categories, but this time it's converting from stage to stage. So inquiry converting to marketing qualified lead converting to sales accepted lead converting to sales qualified lead, and sales qualified lead converting to one. What we want to know is which of these campaigns convert at the highest rate. Okay, so here's our overall conversion rate, and this is the average overall from MQL to 1. And it looks like, oh gosh, inbound leads are converting at the highest rate. That actually makes sense. Kind of intuitively, I kind of knew that. But what I didn't know was that our website is really working hard for us, and that's almost as good as these inbound leads. Very good. What's not working for us is the conversion rate of conferences with this, and so that's interesting, comparing, and perhaps there are certain conferences that are working really well and certain conferences that are not working well, so it warrants some attention based on the last result on the volume chart. Okay, velocity. Velocity is a very cool metric because if you're able to close deals faster, say twice as fast, you get twice the amount of sales in the same time frame. So here, typically, you would measure velocity in terms of days for B2B marketers. So this is a marketing. These are new abbreviations: marketing qualified response to sales accepted response, sales accepted response to sales qualified response, and sales qualified response to close one. The overall velocity in days is here. And you can see that, and lower is better for this metric, right? Faster is better, and that means the shorter number of days is better. And you can see webinars is only 17 days. So that seems to be a good program. Whereas the web leads take a lot longer. Okay, so interesting information here and more information to delve into. We had lots of successes with customers. One company that we've had a lot of good success with is JobBite. A few years ago, they were raising a Series C, and they really needed to meet. So the CEO asked the marketing team to please, help achieve these specific revenue goals. So the marketing team got together. They aligned both the sales and marketing operations. They did a system evaluation to try to find some way that they could share data across those departments using a single source of truth. They built a reverse waterfall, a reverse funnel, to set goals. Remember that planning stage I talked about a little while ago? That's what that planning stage is. And then they used Full Circle analytics to identify the best programs and to optimize their marketing spend. They also checked their marketing to sales handoff and found a lot of inefficiencies there. And so we were able to communicate between the two groups to be able to improve that significantly. Their solution that they used was Full Circle plus Marketo plus Salesforce. So they used Salesforce as their data store, not just for their sales data, but also for their marketing data. And they used Marketo for their promotional activities. So the result was kind of amazing. They actually doubled their win rate, doubling marketing's efficiency. And then they also secured the $25 million in Series C funding. And then the two guys that were leading the initiative, they got promoted, one to a director and the other to VP. And we were super excited for them. Okay, I'm moving into stage here. We're going to talk a little bit more about what the difference is between attribution and funnel metrics and what they're good for. So for attribution, it's you look at attribution metrics really as a single point in time. So you look at, okay, what was our attribution for this week, this month? Our attribution, what does it look like for this year? So it reports on marketing contribution to revenue, and generally you look at it periodically, and typically for special meetings. Funnel metrics is something that you would use all the time. This is where that funnel metrics are very useful for that weekly meeting I talked about that the best companies do. We'll have a weekly meeting discussing volume, velocity, and conversion rates. And they also really optimize and work on the lead management process, the overall lead management process, working to optimize the interaction between sales and marketing. I can't emphasize enough that meeting cadence is everything. So here are a couple of examples. Which campaign types are driving the most sales? What programs drive the highest conversion? And can I measure my PR activities? So here we have a couple of charts. You'll notice in the top here that these are 3 attribution charts. You can see an even spread. We talked about that. You can see a first touch chart and a time decay chart. So that would be like the special factors type of modeling that I talked about. And I'm going to highlight digital ads. So in this particular chart, digital ad shows up in orange. In this chart, digital ad shows up in purple. In this chart, digital ad also shows up in purple. But you can see that when you use these different models, you get different results. So the question is, which campaigns drive the most sales? Well, it depends how you look at it. This large piece, of course, is events. This large green piece here is demo. And this large green piece is also demo. So if you're looking for how you're actually driving new business, right, new people, you're trying to build your pipeline, you want to look at this first touch model and see which types of campaigns are actually driving the top of the funnel. If you're looking for an overall impact, you might look at the even spread model and to see which types of campaigns are impacting sales throughout the sales cycle. And some people choose to take a look at the specialized model, like a time decay model, meaning how much time the prospects are spending with your various types of campaigns. Which campaigns are driving the most sales? Well, it depends on your strategy, right? So if you are interested in your overall campaign picture, you would look at the even spread model. If you are looking at trying to build your pipeline from the top, you would look at that first touch model. And people that are, and companies that are interested in understanding how much time folks are spending with their different campaigns, they would use a time decay model as a proxy for the impact on sales. Okay, second question. What programs drive the highest conversion rate? So here we have a similar chart that we've seen before: advertising, email, banner ads, seminars, partners, other, and webinar. And you also see that this, in terms of the overall inquiry to one percentage, the campaign type email is actually the biggest driver of conversions. Last question is, can I measure PR? This is something that I was always curious about, because PR is an activity that seems to be disconnected from lead generation, but is it? I had that question, and with new tools and new data, you can actually figure this out. So this is an experiment that we ran at Full Circle because we were curious about this question. So you can see here, we've mapped in this general chart inbound requests on the website. So these are these green bars here. And the mentions, for the PR mentions, which goes up and down, is also graphed on this chart. And you can roughly see that when the PR mentions goes up, the inbound requests, so people that are curious and are asking for demos or want to interact with the company also seem to go up. When the PR requests or PR mentions go down, so the news mentions, maybe it's television or radio go down, you can see that the inbound requests actually go down. So it's quite interesting that there seems to be this correlation. We then took a look at mapping this information to days unaffected by PR and had an average of number of inbound requests. And with days that are affected by PR, so on a PR day when there's a PR mention, we took the number of inbound requests, and there was an incremental difference that looked like it was being attributed to our press activities. So this wasn't a list analysis type of study on all of our marketing metrics around inbound requests and how that is affected by PR. And I never thought you could actually measure this, but it turns out that you can. So in my travels, I've learned a few things about how to measure marketing. And one of the key elements of this is sharing and making sure that both marketing and sales can see the same information. A lot of the issues that happen between sales and marketing is because they're collecting data in different systems in different ways. When you have all the data in one place and it's a trusted source, like your CRM system, we like Salesforce, but if you have all your data in one place, it allows you to get the visibility that you need in order to identify where the bottlenecks are and be able to fix them. It also is really important for sales to provide feedback to marketing and vice versa. And when you're looking at all the data, it's completely transparent, and you can provide honest feedback with each other to optimize the performance of your company. So we like to say better alignment gets greater revenue success. In conclusion, we've talked about funnel metrics and attribution. Attribution helps you prioritize your marketing budget and helps you identify campaigns where you want to invest or de-invest. Funnel metrics are key to operations. You can see where the marketing to sales handoff is operating well, how your lead management is happening over different periods of time, and you can optimize around those operations, which can have a very significant effect on your business. And then lastly is put the data in one spot so that both sales and marketing can share that same data. We like Salesforce. You may have a different system, but that's my advice, to make sure that both sales and marketing are operating and optimizing all of their efforts. Thanks, Ingo, for the opportunity to present. And I think we're ready for a couple of questions.
Great. Thanks, Bonnie and Ingo. I'm Katie, and I'm just going to go through our questions really quickly and ask them. All right. It looks like our first question is for Bonnie. Why is Salesforce a good place to store your sales and marketing data?
Oh, that's a good question. So Salesforce is a very popular customer relationship management system. And it provides a great place to put all of your sales and marketing data because both salespeople and marketing people can have logins to the data. And there's an excellent set of dashboards and reporting capability that's available through Salesforce. And lots of people know Salesforce, so there's a big community of experts out there. Ingo, you can talk a little bit about that, as you guys are experts on Salesforce as well. But there's a big community of experts out to know Salesforce and can easily create the reports and dashboards that you would like.
Great. Okay, next question. Which attribution model should I choose?
So that's a good question because it really depends on your company's strategy. So if you are trying to emphasize pipeline development, for example, you would want to choose models that are emphasized earlier stages and pipeline, earlier stages in the funnel. So anything that a first touch model, for example, would be very important. But because it's important to see the data from several angles, we recommend actually running 3 models at the same time. 3 seems to be a nice number, where you look at the data from your overall impact, maybe a specific strategy, then with another emphasis on maybe another strategy. So when you're putting these models together, you want to emphasize what your strategy is. Let me give another example. Say your strategy is to sell to try to emphasize sales to the finance industry. You can put an attribution model together that emphasizes successes in those areas.
Awesome.
I hope that's clear.
Yeah, that was great. Okay, and we have one last question. How long does it take to implement a solution like this?
Not too long. We've implemented Full Circle in as short as 10 days. The reason that the deployment doesn't take a few minutes is because we want to model exactly how the customer is running their lead management process. And everyone does it a little bit differently. And sometimes companies don't really have an accurate recording of exactly how their lead management process works. And so in order to model that in the software, that only takes an hour or 2. We work with customers to identify what their lead management process is and reflect that into the Full Circle software.
Okay, great. All right, so now I will hand it back to Ingo.
Okay. Damit sind wir am Ende der Session angelangt. Thank you, Bonnie, for your really interesting presentation. And thank you, Katie, for organizing this webinar. Ihnen allen danke ich für Ihre Teilnahme und das Interesse an diesem echt spannenden Thema und vor allem natürlich auch für Ihre aktive Teilnahme mit den Fragen. Wir von Full Circle Insights und von BAS Consulting wünschen Ihnen jetzt noch einen schönen Abend und erfolgreiche Geschäfte. Dankeschön.